What's up, man?
How we doing?
How you doing?
Doing pretty good. What's
Yeah,
your
how's
morning been
how's
like? Or I
life?
guess your past morning now.
What's up?
So how's your morning been?
Good. I'm on like I think day like 8 or 9 of a cleanse. Uh
Nice.
yeah, and I'm chilling. I'm like a little low energy, but like it's good. Yeah.
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 What type of cleanse you doing?
So my girlfriend is an Ayurvedic practitioner, so we're doing like
Nice.
an Ayurvedic cleanse. I've done cleanses before in the past, like I've done the Purium
Yep.
one, and then I've done
Hmm.
like breath work and just like just fruit.
Yep,
But
I
this
remember
one
that.
is yeah, this one is like more it's like a little bit of both. So I am juicing a little bit and then we're eating like certain things like mung bean and khichdi with like a little bit of veggies and certain spices, but it's all
Yep.
like very kind of bland. Um
Mm.
like intentionally,
Yeah.
which like I'm actually okay with, like because I'm like I don't mind like taking a break from salt or taking a break from just certain things in general,
Yeah.
giving the body a break. But yeah, it's been
Cool.
good. It's a lot of like ghee. It's like a ton of ghee.
Hmm.
Like cooking with ghee, and then like also I'm like doing like we started off with like 2 or 3 tablespoons in the morning with hot water, and now we're up to like 8 or 9.
Is that like part of the Ayurvedic practice, like cooking with ghee? Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
and
is ghee kind of like the highest form of like butter, tallow kind of thing? Or yeah,
yeah, it's up there with tallow.
yeah, different
It's
source almost.
literally derived from butter. Like you just
Yeah.
cook down butter on like a low temp until it like until like all the soluble fats like come out of the top and you kind of like scrape them off. And then you just like kind of filter it and it yeah, it's like it's not from fat, it's from
Yeah.
like milk or from like
Yeah.
cows.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That's very interesting.
Yeah, it also like it pulls toxins from the body, and it's also really good. Um, like it goes well with herbs, like it transports herbs in the body to wherever they need, or it transports.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah. So you can take herbs with ghee, and it's a
Yeah.
good way to get them in like deeper into your system. And
That's
yeah,
cool.
but it like extracts all the like toxins and like heavy metals and stuff in your stomach, and it I can like feel it. It's kind of wild.
I feel like your like desire to clean yourself like is just like so interesting to me because like I haven't gone down like that path that much, but like I've obviously followed you for like a long time,
Yeah.
and it's just so interesting like the different ways that you like are just like no like if we're cleaner like we're cleaner.
Yeah. No, yeah, it is true, man. And it's all like connected too. Like the more clean I get in my gut, the more clean I get in my body, the more clean I
Yeah,
feel in my mind.
yeah, I
Um,
can see that.
but it's really interesting because like I'm here to like experience things and then share them. Like that's like who
Same,
I am.
same.
Yeah. So like I feel like for me, I've learned a lot of like what not to do. Um,
Mm.
like I did the fruit and I did the breath work and I got really deep into that, but it
Yeah.
also it wasn't necessarily for me in my constitution and
Mm.
like, what my body is like meant to be able to process.
Yeah.
Because I felt very, very weak.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was doing certain things or if I needed to supplement more, but
Yeah.
there's not really like, I don't know. I was just experimenting with it. And
Yeah.
some of it was really great because I got to the point where I could hold my breath on an exhale for like 3.5 minutes.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's
Like
cool.
just like easy to
Yeah.
do. I was like, okay, like done
Yeah.
with that. But and I also was able to get rid of some parasites. Um,
That was my next question. I was like, have you done a parasite cleanse, like, or
so
indirectly?
yeah, so the one that I did in like February was indirectly a parasite cleanse. Like it
Okay.
was like eating fruit and then taking like herbs, and I still have some of them. I've been taking them during this cleanse too.
Yeah.
Um, and that one, like it was wild. It was like one of the craziest experiences of my life, honestly.
Yeah.
I was like 3 weeks in, 3 or 4 weeks in, and I'm like taking these herbs like twice a day. It's like full droppers, and they don't taste good. They're super
Yeah.
bitter. Um, and I remember like I had something heavier for dinner that night. I had like an avocado and banana and some spirulina or something. And later that night at like 4 a.m., my stomach was just like, nope,
Yeah.
not having it today. And it was like I woke up at like 4 a.m. My stomach was like in a knot, and I was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? and I like used some breathing techniques to try and like,
Mitigate it and reduce
yeah,
it.
to just like try and get it to go
Yeah.
through, because yeah, because like part of like the breath work that I do increases lymphatic flow. Like you can hold your breath for a long time and it'll like make you shit. You like
Yeah.
have to poop after. Um,
That's really
but-
interesting because
yeah.
I've been like I've been having like I'm on like a month of a little over a month of like no smoking weed. And then I did like I I did my intention is 3 months of no smoking weed, and then
Nice.
I did like 1 month of no sugar and no alcohol. The no
Mm.
sugar was just because I just didn't want to have like cravings. I knew that that like increased it, and the no alcohol was because I knew that if I drank, I was smoking weed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so but I've been having like night sweats,
Hmm.
uh, like in like more than normal. And like I've like looked it up, and it said like your lymphatic system like could use some more attention, and like I've been about the sauna lately.
Yeah.
And but I was just like, I don't really know that much about the lymphatic system other than like get good sleep.
Mm. Dude, the lymphatic system's like one of the most important systems in the body. It like allows us to detox. Like
Yeah.
it's directly connected to our detox pathways. And we
Yep.
detox through like the four different organs, like the skin, the liver, the kidneys, and the
Small
lungs.
intestine. Okay.
Lungs, yeah. The
Yeah.
lungs
Okay.
is how we detox. We actually detox while we're breathing, like all the time. But we can increase that by like increasing carbon dioxide in our blood, which is all like what Oxygen Advantage is about.
Increase CO2.
Yeah. And I've been doing a ton of research into that actually, like how it affects like I'm all in right now I'm researching like amino acids and how they have an effect,
Yeah.
like how breath either directly or indirectly affects either the synthesize, like how we synthesize or how we absorb amino acids.
Hmm.
So like there's an amino acid called glycine, and basically, um, I'm sure you've heard of it. It's like in
Yep. Hmm.
collagen. It's like literally what makes up collagen, one of the four of collagen. And like if we don't have a balanced blood pH, like if our nervous
Yeah.
system isn't regulated, if our blood isn't regulated, then we can't synthesize glycine in our liver, which like directly impacts the metabolic pathways in our whole body. So it's
Wow.
like directly connected to our metabolism and how we
Yeah.
like not just like absorb but get rid of. So it's
Yeah.
like it's just completely connected to the lymphatic system. Um, so
Yeah,
like
essential amino acids like are so fascinating to me. Especially like seeing that like in gene keys they have like each one is like tied to one.
dude,
Uh,
yep.
yeah.
Well, so we'll definitely go over some of that today because that's like why I've been researching it because I think it's like so fascinating that it's not just connected to, like these biochemical reactions in our body, but it's connected to like the energy, frequency, and vibration of like emotions, and not just emotions,
Interesting.
but like a collective consciousness type of emotion.
Hmm.
Like we have like we have these embodied like fears deep embedded into
Yep.
our DNA,
Yep.
like can't synthesize certain or like can't have those chemical reactions that allow us to be in different frequencies
Hmm.
because we're like collectively at this like at
Lower
this
frequency.
level. Yeah. And it's
Uh,
like, yeah, go ahead.
so are you saying that like a lack of a certain amino acid basically just like doesn't allow us to like work through that fear and then get to like the higher frequency? Is that what you're saying?
So
Not quite.
yeah, no, like that's pretty much it. I'm gonna pull up and I'll share this with you too. And I can share this. Hold on. I have like the whole Gene Keys book and I can send it to
I
you. Yeah,
downloaded. I went for the Kindle. I went to Barnes and Nobles because I much prefer hard copies.
oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah. You tell me
but
that. Yeah.
I was too impatient to wait for the thing because they didn't have it there, and so I immediately went to Kindle yesterday, and I was like, I know what rabbit hole I'm going down.
Nice. Hell
Yeah.
yeah. So there's like I'm sure you've seen
Hmm.
this part, right?
Yep.
Like how to go through this. So glycine, amino acid six. There's four, and they're all connected. Each amino acid's connected through the codon rings.
Okay.
There's like
So
a lot of them. Go
so
ahead.
each codon ring that is say ring of alchemy would have a link to glycine. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Correct. Okay.
So
Um,
if you think about like literally the ring of alchemy, the ring of lymph, like like transforming something and like taking it in and getting rid of it, like that's
Yeah.
like, or like transforming it into something else, like whether it's
Yes.
like, water into gold, whatever it is, that's
Yeah.
alchemy.
Yeah.
So it's like it's taking these things like conflict and bringing them into diplomacy, and then you get into
Mm,
like peace. So it
yeah.
talks, this key is really cool because it actually talks about blood. Like it talks about blood pH and how literally when I think it's, yeah, in here somewhere,
Yeah.
when the world balances their own blood pH, we will get to world peace.
That's so.
Conflict only happens outside of a dysregulated nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
So like once, like literally everybody, once everybody gets in control of their breath, or but it's not even going to be that. It's going to be like like I think you saw that thing I posted about 2027.
Yep.
So
I
there's
showed that
like
to my grandma and she was fucking pumped. She was like, "Oh, really?" She's like, "I just have to make it that long."
I love it. Dude, so that's like there's a key called Gene Key 55 talks a lot
Yep.
about
Freedom.
freedom, yeah. Talks a lot about what's going to happen in the future.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
In terms of like like how the new child is going to be born and like all these different things are going to happen in the world. I was listening to a podcast by this guy named Zach Bush, and he was talking about how there's going to be like a massive transformation in terms of like the air gas exchange that's going to happen on the planet. So
Mm-hmm.
like never before in the history of this world has there been so much CO2 in the air.
Yeah.
And CO2 is like that's the basis of oxygen advantage is increasing CO2 in the blood. But
Mm,
if we increase it in
that's
air,
interesting.
like if it's increased in the air, it's going to hit a tipping point at some point.
Yeah.
It's going to like literally push everyone to like basically breathe harder. They're going to have to breathe harder, or they're going to have to make these adaptations in order to
Yeah.
learn how to breathe. And indirectly, they will increase, they'll figure out intuitively, because
Yeah.
like our knowing and our energy centers are going to move into our solar plex. We're going to intuitively start to know how to breathe based on the pressure around us and the world around us, and it's going to start to create like a purge
That's so
because
interesting. And I like it makes me think about like obviously I already said that like I smoke weed and so like that's like my like lung thing that I do that's not helpful for myself.
yeah.
But I just think about how many people rip Nick sticks, and again I will also rip some, but like how many people habitually rip them. And like my teammates, I play softball, my teammates like just get winded so fast. And like I've even noticed that like uh when I like put in like a Zyn at softball one time, that I was like, holy shit, dude, I can't even control my heart rate right now. Like it literally just like
What's a Zin?
it's a nicotine pouch.
Oh, okay, got you. Yeah,
So it's I guess a cleaner form of tobacco.
yeah, yeah.
But it like I like noticed I was like, Jesus, like I like ran a third and I was just like, dude, I can't even get it back down. Like and like I
Yeah.
like yeah.
Yeah, it's CO2 is directly related to like how fast your heart rate beats too. When
Mhm.
you like increase CO2 in the blood, CO2 inherently is vagotropic. That's like one of the four major functions of CO2. So
Okay.
vagotropic as in the vagus nerve.
Yep.
Like when it stimulates the vagus nerve, when you have increased amounts of CO2 in the blood and you like really push through like breath holds and stuff, or like through anaerobic activity where you're just using nasal breathing, you're
Mhm.
gonna, when you slow down your breath after, you can stimulate the vagus nerve to like
Mm.
excrete this chemical, this hormone that it's called acetylcholine, and
Yep.
it sends a signal to trigger your heart rate to decrease. So it's like, yeah.
I uh I like well I have a ridiculous library, but I like picked up Boundless the other day, like one morning, and just turned to like the first chapter, and it talked about how like certain people were like neurotransmitter dominant, and there was basically, and then it described that type of person, and like mine was acetylcholine dominant.
Oh,
um
cool.
uh and it was basically like likes to read, write, and speak, and I was just like, yeah, those are my favorite things. I was like, I don't really like working that much, like
That's
but
so cool. Wait,
yeah.
what? This was like a test? How did you figure this out?
So, I mean, technically, I didn't do a test, but it had four. It had it was uh, dopamine, GABA, serotonin, and
Okay.
acetylcholine, and then it gave descriptions of each of those types of people. And so I just intuitively like looked at that and I was like, yeah, that's me. Um, uh, and like I also like have ADHD, which is probably evident. And so like that is like an issue with dopamine. I had been like focusing so much on dopamine and like honestly trying to be like a dopaminergic type person where they're like hard charging, more thinking about like facts and logic and things like that.
Mhm.
That's not how my brain works. My brain thinks in like emotions and words and
Mm.
feelings.
Yeah.
And that was like acetylcholine dominant. And so like I've been like making sure I'm getting my eggs every single morning, my avocados, like taking my salmon oil, and just like dude, I feel like I've been like well, not smoking weed too helps, but like
Yeah.
dude, I'm so much more clear.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love that. That's great to hear. I want to go back to the
Mhm.
cleansing story really quick. So like I I was talking about how like I woke up in the middle of the night and
Yep. Yep.
like had this thing ripping out of my stomach. I could
Yeah.
literally feel it. And I used breath work to like move things along. And then I like went to the bathroom in the middle of the night and it was like gnarly. I was like, what the fuck? I feel like shit. Like what the hell is
Yeah.
going on? And then I woke up again like 10 o'clock the next day. I like slept in because I didn't sleep the
Yeah.
previous night like at all. And I had the day off. So like I woke up and I still felt awful. I had like a headache. I was like, what is going on? My head feels so cloudy, like I feel like shit. And then I went to the bathroom again and it was like a 2-inch parasite. I was like,
Wow.
what the and it like I could feel like the hole in my gut. Like as I
That's
was eating
yeah.
over the next like few days, I was
Yeah.
like, what is going on? And it unlocked something in my brain, dude. Like
Mm.
I was like downloading just information so much
Mm.
faster. And this is like right when I got into Gene Keys too. So I just
Yep.
started reading about it. I started like picking up on these different things. I started learning like I was into like diving into breath work. So like just everything was just happening like so fast. I felt like I was like understanding the universe on such like an insanely deep level and like
Yeah.
asking all these questions and finding the answers to them.
Mm.
And it was just like I was very tapped in. I even like during that moment where my stomach was like in knots, I like didn't know what to do. And I was
Yeah.
talking to my acupuncturist like 2 days prior, and she was like, I was like telling her I like wasn't feeling like I felt like I didn't I was feeling like almost depressed but not sure why or like feeling like all these emotions like just like coming really deep and dark and heavy and I was like I don't know what's going on. She's like you can always ask for help. You can always ask like the universe or ask your guides or whatever else. So I was like, I don't have anything to lose. So I like
Yeah.
literally just like in the middle of my bed like help
That's
me figure this out. Like I
that's
don't know
silly
what the
time I
fucking
ask the universe for help too, which is
yeah.
really not a good idea. But I'm like, oh, it's I wait till I'm like where like my stomach's in knots or like my heart's broken
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I could use some help right now.
Yeah. And then they were like, use breath work, idiot. I was like, okay, all right, yeah, yeah, that's fair.
It's like your favorite tool. Use it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Um,
That's
but
it's
yeah,
so fun
like,
when they're so clear like that.
yeah, yeah. I need to ask them for help from some other stuff too. But I'm also like just like kind of on like a better path. Not a better path, just like
Yes.
the path.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
it's
Yeah,
been
I like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Uh yeah, this past year has been kind of wild for me. I haven't been like as busy on social media, but like I'm planning on moving and I'm doing a lot of things like behind the scenes kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um I'm like me and my girlfriend are actually going to take a course in human design and Gene Keys and like
Nice.
try and dive deeper into this and figure out how to apply it to things like business and life and personal relationships and how to like build out bigger fractal groups because it's really like they talk about the fractal groups in the Gene Keys and like so just so you know human design and Gene Keys basically the same transmission like from the universe just from two different people.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
like Ra was the first one. He came out in like early 2000s, maybe
Yeah.
even earlier when he was writing it. And then Richard Rudd got his downloads in like 1996 or something, and
Hmm.
he wrote a book in 2004. And it's very like it's so interesting because it's all based off of like another system called the I Ching, the
Yep.
ancient Chinese system, and it's like utilizing all of these things to basically write another language
Hmm.
through it and like give a different kind of view of these transmissions. And Ra is very because he's a specific type of person, and the way human design breaks it down, it's all into like I'm sure you've seen manifesting generator,
Yep.
manifestor, generator,
Yep.
reflector, projector, all those. So he's I think he's a generator or something, so he's writing it from a generator perspective.
Hmm.
Whereas Richard Rudd, I think he might be a projector, so he's writing it from that perspective, and he has a very like
That's
it's
so
they're both
interesting.
just so amazing in their own ways. Richard Rudd takes it kind of to a different level. He takes it to a more of a like a societal level. So he really
Okay.
dives deep into like how it. I was talking about like how it those fears are like tapped into our they're in our genes, in our like
Yep.
deep-seated fears in our genetics, and he talks about how that impacts society and what will happen kind of when flashes of the city and the gift happen in society as like compared to just the person or the person and the individual and the group. But yeah, uh so dude, these systems are freaking sweet. They yeah, go
Dude,
ahead.
so cool. And like the thing that I like about them is like I'm one of mine is Gene Key 15, which is like and it's the Ring of Seeking. And I'm just like, oh my God, dude, I spend so like I have probably read more and listened to more podcasts than like most like 90-year-olds.
Yeah.
Uh um and uh and it's in fuck, what did you and I just what I think I like about it the most is how personalized it is to you. Like I had like looked for other like leaders uh to like get guidance from like on like social media, like learning from them that way, and I just like realized that so many of them are not me. uh
Yeah.
and like that like it is just a guide to being Matthew at the highest form. uh
Yeah.
it's a guide to being yourself at the highest form, which I just I've been looking
What
for that shit for a long time.
what's cool is you have the 10-15, that
Yep.
channel. Yeah, so that's like the more you are you, the more you be you and you just naturally be you, the more you like find like create like this magnetism towards yourself for
Dude,
life. So like
I
literally you're just like talking about that and you're just tapping into it. And that's
I
like your life's work and how you evolve and everything.
it's so interesting because I have in many points in my life been that magnetic person, and like I like uh and it's funny because it's always when I'm on my path that like if I search for a girlfriend, this shit don't happen. But if I'm just being my magnetic self, like it's just like whoop 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 whoop
Yeah.
whoop, like literally everything is coming to me, and I'm like, I didn't do shit different. Like, and like when I read that, I thought it was so interesting. And literally right before, I went and sat down and read the Gene Keys yesterday. I was talking with a friend on social media, and I was just saying that like how much like unlearning I'm doing and like getting basically back to my natural state. And it was funny to see that like my 10th gene key was natural.
Yeah,
And I was
naturally.
just like, yup.
Yup, makes sense.
Yeah.
So I was talking to my girlfriend a little bit about this stuff yesterday too. So I have both of our
Cool.
charts up here. I just want to point out like a couple of things that I found like just kind of interesting between the both of us.
Yep.
You have some really cool channels and just keys in general. Like I feel like I say that about like literally
I was
everybody.
gonna say, I was gonna say if I dove into yours, I knew that the same
Yeah.
thing would be there. Like and it's I think it also reminds me of how unique and special every single human is. And that like the people who I see who I don't see that like the gift in are just like not in their gift. And like it's
Yeah.
not that they have them. They
Yeah.
have them. They're just not expressing it or not there yet. And just like to remind myself that is within everybody. Like,
Mhm. Yeah, that's
you
beautiful.
know, love everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, that's your purpose right there, universal love. That's like literally like you just spoke it exactly as it is, like having no expectations or preconceived notions or no conditions around like literally love. Like
Yeah.
love that. So, I'm sure you've noticed each one of these has like a point on it, point one.
Yep.
So these points, and this is something. So I actually created like my Telegram group, which I think you're in. I started doing like weekly, just like meetups to talk about going through the sequences in Gene Key.
Okay.
And so we went through the activation sequence. We just finished. We did it in about 6 weeks, and we recorded like all of them. There was like 3 or 4 of us that like tapped in. I think one or two might join for the next one. But basically, like that, going through the activation sequence and learning about the
Okay.
lines within each one. And that thing I sent you about like the group, that's in the book, the activation sequence.
The fractal thing.
Yeah. So there's
So I was curious about that because I
so
either haven't gotten there or don't know about it. Like,
yeah, so each one of the like so you have the Gene Keys book and that like tells you each one of the keys and like what they are. But then it's like how do you use this massive
yep,
book? Like
yep.
where do you go from here? And there's three different books in Richard Rudd's system that talks about this. I don't know exactly too much about um like how to travel the human design, but I'm actually going to be looking into like a lot of that and I'm learning about it like just through my girlfriend. But basically you see how there's three different colors. There's the activation sequence, which is the green. There's the Venus sequence, which is the red, and the Pearl sequence, which is the blue.
Okay, let me write that down.
Yeah.
Uh, green equals activation.
Yeah.
What is red?
Red is Venus.
Venus, and what is that?
That's so that's about like how you love.
How you love.
Yeah. And that's
And
like that's going through like your 7 year cycles of love and like talking about like your core wounds and your trauma and like how to basically transform them to live in that state of like open heart, like
mm,
open-hearted connections. And then through that, you find your vocation. And through your vocation, you tie into prosperity and abundance and like working and finding
yep,
your work, what you love to do to work. And so
yep.
that's about the Pearl sequence. And it's all connected to like numerology and astrology and like all of it. Like it's so deep because Venus, literally the god of like it's all about love. It's all about like the planet of Venus, and then the Pearl sequence is the more masculine planets. So it's the combination of like Earth. It's like where Earth, Mars, and Jupiter were during the time when you were born, and that like dictates like everything about like how you find prosperity and wealth. Um, but it's
But you
really
good
cool.
at that shit.
Yeah. So the keys, and you're gonna read through most of this stuff if you get them anyway. But
Yep.
basically, the activation sequence, it's only like 12 or 13 bucks online. You can get it on your Kindle too. The Venus and the Pearl, I have the PDFs for. Um, and so we might be going through the Venus next. We might go into a little bit of human design next, but before we do the Venus,
Where did you get the those things that you were talking about?
the PDFs,
Yeah.
um, like a lot of people who have already bought into the systems have them.
Okay.
There's like three people in the group that have the PDFs, and now I have them, like most of them,
Yeah.
or just like more information.
Hmm.
There's a lot of. It's really interesting because the woman that we're going to take the course with um, has talked about human design and how like they basically have like all this occult knowledge. They have all this information, and they can just like if they wanted to give it away for free. But there's a
Yep.
lot of paywalls, and there's a lot of like you got to pay for to know all this stuff about. Like it's just like it's a lot, and
Yeah.
she's spoken out against it. But it is what it is. They're making a
Yeah.
business out of it.
Yeah. I don't. I think as long as you're helping someone,
Yeah,
uh, and you're not stealing from them or like overcharging them, because obviously you can overcharge them. That like you're doing a good thing. Like go make your money, because like at some point
yeah.
I'm gonna want to make money on something that I like.
I think.
Found.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, it's a good.
Yeah, I think all this stuff's going to be like, well known in the future. Like it's going to be how people like talk about their business, how people talk about like how people evolve.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because like um within like each one of these lines is like all the details and the nuances of how to do these things and how to operate. So I just want to point out a couple things about I want to talk about the lines real quick.
Yep.
Each one of them I haven't gone into deeply, but I've just gone into the activation sequence, but I can tell you like 1 through 6 on sort of a like a larger scale, like what's going to apply to kind of each one. The ones are always the creators. They
Hmm.
are the spark, the initiators, the thing that like makes something. And they don't necessarily need to do anything else than that. So you
Yep.
have the one and so the life's work and the evolution are in your conscious. So this is your conscious mind. You're able to like do this is the one. The subconscious and the unconscious is the radiance and the purpose. So you have your 1-3 cross. Like in human design, you're the 1-3. Or sorry, wait, am I
I'm
looking?
5'1".
Oh, sorry, you're 5-1. I'm looking at the wrong one. Sorry. this is not. Oh, hold on. Did I? I thought I uploaded
Yep,
you.
I just saw it. I just saw it
You
in
did?
there. Yep. That's lucky right there, right in the middle.
Oh yeah, cool. Okay.
It's funny because there were many things in there that were felt very like me.
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because I was looking at this and I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. So you have the one in your unconscious. So you're the creator. So the two takes the one and like finesses it. It's the archetype of the dancer. So it takes the one and plays with it and like
Mm.
embodies it and is like loves doing it and like makes it just more creative. So they take what something has been already created and then they like enhance it in a way. The
My grandma
three,
said that about me.
yeah, nice. The threes do what I mentioned earlier, which is like experience things. They're really good at like trial and error. They're here to do that. That's like
Mhm.
what they're here to do. So like that's part of my profile. I'm a 1/6. My profile and what I'm here to do in my life's work is just experience things and tell people how to do them. Get my knowledge and experience through experience. The fours sort of take what the one, two, and the three have done, and then they bring it into larger communities. So
Mm.
they're that next step. They
Yeah,
go here. Let's
that's
take this
interesting.
and let's deliver it to these fractal groups that are a little bit larger than three.
Yeah.
Uh, and then the fives take it even further and they go into society and they're like, let's see how we can make this impactful across the globe. So that's in your life's work and your evolution is being in the five.
What was that one again?
So that
So
one's like taking things into the globe, like taking things into society in like bigger ways, how to like really bring what the one, two, three, and four have done and like make it make it work for everybody.
that's so
Um,
interesting because like when I look at my life path, it says that like one of the things is like leading large organizations,
yeah,
and it doesn't necessarily have to be that. But I was just like, yeah, no, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
yeah, yeah, hell yeah, dude. And then the six is sort of like all of those almost embodied in one. In a
Mm,
way, it's like the teacher, it's the
mm,
philanthropist, it's the
yep.
like the one that sort of brings it all together from like a bird's eye view and like shares it in that way. Um, it's yeah, that one's very interesting because well, I've read a little bit about it and it's something that's not very apparent in our society at this moment in time. Like there aren't a lot of philanthropists, whereas like philanthropy is going to be like a thing of the
We
future.
got Bill Gates.
Yeah, no, that's not that. That's
I
the
know,
opposite
I
of
know, I know.
that. But it's just like super cool to think about. I was reading a little bit of the Pearl, and they were like, the sixes are like the philanthropist. It's something that doesn't exist yet, but it will, and it will be like
Mm,
there will
mm.
be like a division in every single um,
Love that.
company for philanthropy. The
I
sixes
love
will
that.
have a position, you know?
Yeah, I like that. And I do agree because like it's legally like if you're a like company that's like on the stock market, you're legally not allowed to do things for a philanthropic purpose that like when Walmart donates billions of dollars, like they're expecting to make money back on their goodwill.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny that we, in our vocations, we both actually have the point sixes.
Okay.
So in my vocation is the shadow of confusion, the gift of imagination, the
Mm,
city of illumination. Yours is forgetting, mindfulness, and revelation. So it's just like even cool just to think about, and like even just reading these terms, we have our own preconceived notions about it, and then we read the key, and then we're like, okay, well that's completely changed now. Like it really like exploring these words in their full capacity, like kind of opens you up to
yeah, because
like, yeah, go ahead.
no, sorry. When I was reading about like the love piece, I was talking with my grandma and I was like, how like I knew like when I got my little thing, it said something about like love, like, and it had the basically the forgetfulness, mindfulness, revelation. And I was just like, I have too many times uh forgiven. Uh when I should have been mindful of, okay, this is a pattern, like
Mm,
here's a place that I should set a boundary. And if this boundary is not going to be respected, then it's time for me to walk. Um,
mm.
that like I've just been too forgiving in love, in particular, especially with beautiful women. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like forgive but not forget.
yes,
Yeah, in that
and
way. Yeah, I like
and
that.
not necessarily keep it as like, oh, this is a running score of the things you've done to me.
Yeah.
So obviously that's not a good way to love. Uh,
Yeah.
but just that, like, yeah, yeah, forgive, not forget.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's important to like understand yourself in that way. That's yeah, awesome, dude. I love that. Thank you for sharing. That's
Mhm.
perfect. Um, so the the gene keys are so cool and there's so much to them. Each one of these also has like a whole archetype to it. So
Okay.
you go to like gene keys 64 doors and you just click the first one. We'll go to we'll go to let's see, we'll go to 33 just because we were talking about it. So 33 is
That's
the
beautiful.
medicine woman.
Hmm.
So that's the archetype of the 33.
I love storytelling.
Yeah. So like you can find out more about the archetype and how it interacts with other archetypes. So
Hmm.
the 13, the 19, like certain things about it. And then it goes into like Achilles heel, positive attributes, like all this amazing, like there's so much information to dive
This
into.
is so cool.
Yeah, this, and then talks about the programming partners. And dude, let me tell you about the programming partners real quick. And
Yep.
then we'll move into like some of the human design stuff. So
I'm cool to stay on Gene Keys.
yeah, I'm cool with it too, but I actually want
Yep.
to tell you a couple things about
Okay.
human design too.
Yep.
Um, Gene Keys, the programming partners. So when we talk about like being in the shadow frequency and elevating ourselves into the gift frequency and into the city, uh,
Hmm.
it's these aren't permanent states, and we always get flashes of these
Yep.
states, or
Yep.
we
I
find
felt.
ourselves
Yep.
in like certain certain patterns that potentially find ourselves in negative spirals or looping. So
Mm.
I'm sure you've heard of the looping one.
Yep.
So the programming partners feed off of each other. So like if we look at um, what's cool about Gene Keys is they include in the activation sequence, they include your programming partners in your life's work and evolution. So
Mm.
these are programming partners, the 15 and the 10, and then the 17 and the 18. So we're going to look at 17 and 18 real quick. So we can see how if we have an opinion about something, we can be judgmental. And because we're judgmental, we have more opinions about things and not in a
I
healthy way. And so those just feed each other. And so the way to transcend them is to find the gift, but it's tough when you can't see it and when you're stuck in those loops and we're stuck in those patterns. But in the same way that the shadow works, so does the gift. So the
Mm.
more you stay in that gift of farsightedness where you're sort of like anticipating the future, anticipating things about how to not find judgment or opinion about it and staying with integrity, then you don't find yourself in situations where you're like in those shadow frequencies.
Yeah.
It's yeah, so it's like wicked cool how like they all connect. So like there's the codon rings and then the programming partners, and there's all these ways that they each one of these keys connects. And also what's cool about this whole system is like you don't have to start from gene key one, and
Yeah.
you don't even have to read any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you were to read one key, it can have an effect on literally every single key. It
Yeah.
like activates certain things in your DNA just as you sort of like embody and like just think about them, just contemplate them. It's
I'm a seeker. I've already started reading my own, and like now that I know like what each of the different pieces mean, uh, I'm at least going to start with reading my own, and that's the same thing I did with the one human design book that I read. Is like I read my own things, and like because like realistically I care, and that's funny because there was a piece that was like I think the 10 that was like self-obsession, and I was like I care first about myself, and I was like, ooh, I see that in the narcissist as well, like
yeah.
that's that is certainly present.
Yeah. Um So I'm sure you've looked into like your keys in terms of human design and the
Yep.
whole like design and personality, unconscious and conscious thing. Um, so we have more keys than what's, in our gene keys. We have
Yep.
like way more. Like
Yeah.
I haven't memorized or like figured out exactly how they're connected.
Yep.
Um, but there's like a lot that we can learn about even this system and like all
Mhm.
these different symbols. We can find out, sun, moon, north node, south node,
Mhm.
like all the different planets, and kind of like figure out like how to use these keys and how to use these keys not just with ourselves but with other people. So there's
Mhm.
like, I'm sure you've seen like the energy centers, like
Yep.
things, and how they have nine.
Yep.
Freaking super cool, nine chakra system.
Uh, so I've been participating, or I've been doing a seven chakra like meditation, and like I've been like trying to and I needed to re-see this picture of like how do I use the easy meditation that I love that's like guided and be like, okay, how do I, if I'm doing the root, obviously there's the root, but when I get to the sacral one, there's the middle and then there's the edges. And that like I'm gonna start like trying to think about like the 9 points, and then like put like the spleen and the G center like as like my
Mhm.
solar plexus one in the 7 point system. Uh
Think about it like a spiral. So it's not like you're going left and then right and then up and then
yep.
down. It's like it's going to start from the bottom and then it's going to go. I think it goes left first. And it goes left and up, and then it spins around to the back side, and then it goes forward, and then it like spins around. So
Mm,
it's like a snake in that it wraps your core that
yeah.
way.
Yep,
Um,
that's interesting.
I don't know how accurate that is, but it just makes sense to me.
Yep.
um, but yeah, so like you can see in your profile, you have like some of these are like colored in and not.
Mm-hmm.
So this basically means that they're defined.
Yep.
When they're defined, it means you can act out of that specific like authority. Like I'm sure you've read a little bit about your
Yep.
authority and like how you have um, authority is your solar plexus. So your solar plexus is filled in. Um, and you'll see like in all these here, you see these lines. 56 connects to the 36. You have your 10 connects to the 34. These are all channels.
Mhm.
So these channels, what's cool about these channels is you actually have a lot just
I
already
know.
activated in your.
I've
You were looking
many
into this too?
yeah, I've definitely gone more into human design than the gene keys. And it's interesting because like I do have so many different channels. And but like I've always been like told that like I have so much potential.
Mm.
And I wonder if because of uh that like some part of that they could just sense that like there was a lot going on in me. Um uh uh yeah. I
That's
also
cool.
think it's so interesting that I literally have nothing in the G center going on. Because the little triangle one's the G center, right?
This one
Or
right here, yeah.
or that's splenic.
So I think this one's splenic, but
Uh,
I'm not too sure. Hold on.
it don't matter. But that little one, I was like, that's very interesting.
So I don't have any defined
Interesting.
because I'm a reflector in
Yep.
G.
Does that mean that you don't have anything defined?
Reflectors don't have anything defined, correct?
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I do have like activations in channels. So
Yep.
like when what's really interesting about like when I come together with people,
I saw that.
I get activated
Yeah.
through connecting with people.
I feel that right now.
Yeah. Yeah, isn't it wild? Like it's
And
very
it's
cool.
so and it's so interesting because like uh it literally requires you to need people. Like and that we all have that like need of other human beings and like benefit from like those groups, but like I feel like a reflector more than anything, and like especially with you like having, because do you have any fully directed channels or
Nope.
yeah, yeah, that's just so interesting. And like I haven't dove a whole lot into reflector either, so that's interesting.
Yeah, my girlfriend's a manifesting generator, so I've been hearing a lot about that.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. Like manifesting generators are like they're on it. Like they're
Energizer bunny.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like what's really cool about like our channels is like a bunch of them connect.
Mm,
So
That's
you have the
23 and 43.
you have the 63, I have the 4. So we have the 63-4 channel when we come together.
Mm,
We have the 43-23.
yep.
We have the
33-13.
33-13. Yep. There's like a bunch of them. We like it's just
Wow, that's
wild.
so interesting.
Yeah. Um like
That's so interesting.
the 15-5. Yeah, I mean you
Yep.
have that full channel anyway, but I feel that when I come like into contact with
The
you.
41-30 we got collectively, the
The
28
14-2.
38. The yeah, that's is so interesting because like I seriously love the content that you even just repost. And I wonder if like that's like it's just fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Like and I've been like thinking about it and like it's all so positive. Um, like you do a very good job of keeping like I like wanted to post something today and I literally had to fucking bite my tongue to not post something about war and how it's about money, power, pride, and ego and religion oftentimes. And like
And you saw that thing I posted today. I was like, I don't care.
I just wanted to and I was in a fucking feisty mood this morning and I like wanted to like and I was just like that is not and so like I'll show you what I wrote. I've
Hmm.
been actually writing the last like 2 days. So I posted just the thing about like give when your cup is full, not when your thing is like give from your overflow, not from your cup. And then the
Yeah.
rest of it that I wrote was giving and being generous is such a beautiful trait when it comes out of overflow. When it comes out from the cup, it's martyrdom. And I'm certainly guilty of this. America is no longer an economic powerhouse. We are robbing the American people by giving any resource to anyone else. And
Yep.
like, I just didn't want my head being bitten off. Like, and I was just like, so I just decided, you know what, Matt, like this, like you don't have to post that. And so I just went with just the quote, like,
Well, it's good to get it out. Like, I mean, I think you mentioned before, like you're a writer, so it's like that's a way for you to express yourself.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it's funny you mentioned the cup thing because I literally just mentioned that yesterday.
yeah.
Somebody in the group chat was talking. I said, "Loving yourself by filling your cup so that it overflows and spreads throughout your fractal." It's just
Mhm.
you get it, man.
Yeah.
That's, yeah, I learned that like a long
Activated.
yeah activated. I learned that shit a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's yeah through my own like experience in relationships and stuff.
Yep.
Um,
Oh,
but it's really cool. There's a lot of channels like that. This is the stuff that I like kind of want to explore and like what's really cool about human design and kind of like understanding your place and where you feel the most comfortable doing the work that you want to do and you feel like you're passionate about it and you can do it but you don't want to do the whole thing
no.
and doing something
Fuck no.
you're not aligned with like is hard. It's like
Dude. Oh my God. It's
800
fucking
times harder and you're like this
dude.
sucks.
And I've like put myself in many like situations that would be great jobs for other people. And then I just realized after that like it was fun for like a month and a half when I was like learning and I was just passionate and it was all new things. And then it just got like monotonous and I was like, oh, this shit fucking just like doesn't feel good. Like
Yeah.
uh um and so like I recently just got a job as a server and I was only looking for a particular vibe. It had to be like indoor outdoor. It had to be like a big enough space that like I worked with coworkers. Like there was like and I was like this is the and my parents were like just go work at like a steakhouse or go work at something nice. And I was like, nope, there's only certain environments that I'm going to like have fun and be myself. I'm not listening to your goddamn rules about what I should do in my life anymore. Like they have caused me more harm than good.
That's dude, it's just so funny you're telling this.
And
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
they've they've taught me so many beautiful things. I don't want to like leave that part off. There's so many things that they have taught me that have been beautiful. And yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and instead of but, right? Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
It's funny you're talking about this because my girlfriend like literally got a job about 3 weeks ago, and she was like applied to like a bunch of different places. She got a server job, and it's
yep,
at a place that like makes sense for her, and like the
yep,
food makes sense, and it's
yep,
like yeah, the environment was like totally like she prioritized that over like
yep.
everything else.
That is so interesting.
Yeah, and yeah,
Sounds interesting, and if she's connected to you, there's obviously a connection there.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she's dope. It's just funny that you're both manifesting generators and you're talking about getting serving jobs because I'm sure you're great at a server at doing
Oh,
serving.
I'm fucking
Yeah, you are good with people. Like,
up, and I love to talk, and I have to move. When you talked about like doing things that are aligned for you and that certain things like don't feel good, I like laugh to myself because I truly love being the center of attention. I like being the one on stage. I like being the one talking. Like I
hmm.
like, and it's interesting because uh, I was the first grandchild and I was the first like kid in like everything, and so everybody was always looking at me. And I like made a joke the other day with like my siblings and my cousins, and then like a family friend who's basically the same a cousin. And I made a joke that I was I called it COU, center of the universe, and they just all laughed because they're like, dude, you still make up your own fucking rules.
I love it.
Yeah.
Dude, that's really funny because like I'm sure there's a channel association here, but the fact that you like to be on stage and be that guy in charge, or like not even in charge, but like be the voice and be
Yes.
the center of
Yes.
attention, I'm the opposite.
Yeah.
But I still like to lead, but in a different way. Like something I found in like reflecting on part of my radiance and my purpose, like as I was going through like the activation sequence with everybody, I was like, you know what, I've never felt like I want to be the center of attention. Like I did chorus in high school and I was like, I don't really care to do solos. Like I don't want to be the only guy on stage. I was really good at what's called like intonation. So it's like matching your tone and pitch and voice to like
Mhm.
be the exact same as the person next to you.
Yeah.
Then
That's so
you're like
interesting.
you're amplifying that. So you're like finding a way to amplify the sound and the voice of some
Everybody else.
people around you. But more than
And
that,
that's
like going through what makes me radiant and what makes me like my vitality increase, it like through emotion is the gift of guidance. And it's like not in the
dude.
way in it's like in the way that like mages and like priests like high priests or whatever influence the kings.
Mm,
They're like really the leaders and the rulers, like, but they're not the
yes.
face. They're not the
Yes.
ruler, but they're like they have all the knowledge and they guide people to make the right decisions or to give them the right information to make the right decisions. And it's like I've always had this like this feeling to like want to do that, but never have really not never, but like in a lot of situations have because of my I don't know like authority or just like the way systems are built nowadays. Like I never felt in certain jobs that I was like heard. I was like, you
Yeah.
guys do
Mm,
this wrong. If you just listen to me, it'll be like way more harmonious and cohesive and just like makes sense. And
yeah.
it's just interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely like your guidance in this, like, has already like taught me so much about this, and like now I can already like go look into these things, and like I'm gonna be able to use what I know and my like willing to go down rabbit holes to be like, fuck yeah, let's fucking go. Um,
Yeah.
I
I
also
was talking about your chart with Katie last night and she said that we have when we come together, you have like the energy to do it and I give you the direction. So I
mm,
forget which channel it was,
yeah, that's funny
like the
because
60.
I'll go in fucking nine directions and
Yeah.
make it nowhere in any of them.
So it's really cool. Like I
It's
love
funny unless it's your life.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, facts. I just think it's so interesting how like we can potentially look at like things like job or things like work or things just like play or just like creating things in general in this world and like working with other people to do that and
Yeah.
like finding that passionate thing and just like either leading people or being the one that does it or like using that information to transform it in some way. Like
Yeah.
it's so cool. It's like what I'm all about, man.
Yeah.
um yeah. um I wanted to talk about.
I
Go
got
ahead.
like 20 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. No
Yeah.
worries.
I'm
Um,
having a fantastic time.
hell yeah. Um, so one thing that I did want to mention too that I've heard, which is really cool. So the unconscious and the conscious, or the design and the personality. One is like, obviously how the world sees you, and the other is like sort of like your unconscious and like what you are. And like you're meant to project things out into the world in a certain way to like sort of balance your ego and to sort of like understand like what you're here to do, or what you're here to like how you're here to create relationships and create fractals. But the cool thing about like sort of the unconscious and like these things, it's like it is us in the way that we're supposed to be totally aligned. So the reason why they created the unconscious and the conscious is because there's a tilt in the axis in the earth. So it's not on a 90-degree like axis tilt.
Hmm.
And the reason why that's important, 90 degrees, is 90 degrees is where the Fibonacci sequence spirals out of. So it's
Okay.
all connected to mathematics. So
Yep.
like if it's off, then we're off on our what's in alignment. Like
Hmm.
like what allows us to be divine, what connects us to the golden thread that is the like the divine number, that is the divine self, that is all of us. So what's really cool is there's been a lot of changes in the polarity and the magnetism of the earth and the sun and how they're interacting with each other right now, is that the earth is like sort of shifting back. It's shifting out of this disconnect. Something happened,
That's so interesting.
like a long time ago. Like it's there's different systems that like separate different ages in history, either through the zodiacs or through like Indian culture. It's like called the Kali Yuga. It's like 5,000 years of darkness. So basically,
Mm.
it's that. It's like something shifted us to be into 5,000 years of darkness. I think it was like cataclysmic events, like meteors hitting the Earth and like shifting us out of polarity. But
Mm.
um,
Yep. I could
like
for sure be on that team.
nature like has a way of like realigning us. It just does. There's something about just the perfection of the universe itself that allows us to be back in alignment. So there is this shift happening. And that's why they talk about 2027. That's why they talk about like what's happening with the earth in terms of evolution, like all these things. So we are shifting back into that. And that's where, we will start to evolve. I mentioned that guy, Zach Bush, and I'm going to send you like two podcasts after this because
I will listen to him. Absolutely.
there's three of them. And it's all like, it's this woman named Deja Blue who has uh,
Yep.
this
I
guy,
know.
Zach Bush and Richard Rudd talk on one of them. And he has Richard Rudd and then Robert Edward Grant talk on another one. Do you
I
know
don't
who
know.
Robert Ed?
No.
He's very into mathematics. Like he's
Okay.
all about connecting spirituality to numbers, and it's
Yeah.
wild. Like the way these two talk about the gene keys and the numbers, and like all it's like. And then there's another one that's like Zach Bush giving like a monologue, and I've shared some of the details about it, but it's like he was talking about how more CO2 in the air is going to like shift our body and our blood and like our genes at like a cellular level and have us express certain viruses and certain um like chemicals are going to start to make cocktails in our body that like express different things in new ways.
Mm.
So he hypothesized that with all this extra space that CO2 is going to create, because CO2 is a pressure for hemoglobin to release oxygen from the cell and like literally create more space in the body. It like allows blood to get to oxidized cells, so they release toxins, so it creates more space internally.
Mm.
So this change is going to allow the genome to split into like a quadrihelix as opposed to a double helix, and then
Ooh,
we're going to have access to like 4 new amino acids.
phew, that's so interesting. And also, I'm like, how is that going to? Because if there's already the conscious and unconscious, like, is there going to be two sets of conscious and unconscious? Like,
Hmm. Maybe, potentially, or it'll like what I think it's really going to do, like they were talking about how the energy center is going to shift from the mind to the solar plexus,
yeah,
how we're going to
yeah,
start
I got a
leading.
solar plexus authority.
Yeah, so we're going to start leading out of our intuition in our gut. And
Mm.
our gut is going to be like the dictator of like how we vibrate and how we elevate and how we connect with that, just like everybody, and how we live life. Like it's going to allow us to, and it is allowing us. It's not like it's gonna, like we're already tapping into these.
Yep.
There's
Yep.
like a pre-phase to it and a post-phase to this 20. It's not like, oh, 2027 hits and like everybody changes. Like no, it's
Yeah.
like it's a gradual thing, and there's people on different spectrums in terms of energy and vibration that are like getting ready for this and that aren't going to purge as hard, or people that are going to face it and like fucking it's gonna suck, but they're still gonna do it, and it's gonna be a beautiful experience. It's just like everybody's gonna have their own experience, which is like the coolest thing ever, and that's what's gonna allow us to like be united. Is when we all have that experience and that shared experience of that purge, and whichever allow, like that's why at one point, at some point, most people are gonna like have sort of a
Depression.
more balanced, yeah, body, more balanced blood, more balanced nervous system, more just like more creativity will flow, more gifts will flow in the universe, more like all of it. Um, yeah. And mic drop and monologue. um, dude, this was dope. I'm glad you and I chatted. I love talking about this stuff.
I, I would definitely like to do this again because like I feel like I've or like even join in on your group like
Yeah,
uh
dude, absolutely. I don't know if you're
I,
already in there,
I
but
don't have Telegram on my phone right now. I was
okay.
too distracted.
Yeah, yeah,
Too many things going on. Um I can re-download it.
for sure. But dude, yeah, I would love to have you in there. Like this type of stuff is like it gets me so freaking excited.
Same.
Let's go.
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, I'm looking to like expand on this group and like build it out. I want like the people to start knowing that there's resources out there for like all of this stuff that we're talking about, like
Yeah.
ways to connect with yourself and ways to connect with others in a way that's like not like forced into this patriarchal like just hardness that surrounds everything. It's like
Yeah. No, I feel that too.
not supposed to be this hard. It really is. Like the world makes it so difficult, but it's
Yeah.
not meant to be like that,
And I think like part of the reason that it is so difficult is that like there is no guide like this on how to be yourself. Like everybody is different, and if everybody is in their gift or their city, also I thought it was city as a C-I-T-T or C-I-T-Y.
Yeah.
After I read it, I was like, nope, not it.
Yeah.
um um but that like when my one of my really good buddies had a kid, like the first thing I did was like look up because I knew his name and everything, and I knew it, so I already looked it up for him. I haven't sent
Oh,
it to him
nice.
because he's totally not into this thing. And
Yeah.
I was just like, dude, I'm the best guide for him. He is me. Like you're gonna have me as a kid. Like I but
Are you
uh
the
I
godfather? Are you-
I'm not, but like uh he just like is just going to be this energetic being like he had so many things that were so similar to me, and I was like, oh my god, he's going to be a salesman. And I was just like, yeah, that's what I like to do.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I like to So I've realized how we talked about like things that are out of alignment, doing the and it's I mean it probably could be showed in the wait to respond. Anytime that I do outreach, that is something that is like draining to me. Like I can fucking do it for a little bit of time to like drum up business, but over time like it is draining to me. But if I interact with someone, and the same thing with like a server is like if someone is in my net and is in my person, like whether it's a phone call uh or in my like vicinity, I'll fucking sell them like whatever. But
Yeah.
like and I can sell them just like this. But if I have to do the like outreach, like that piece of it is draining to me. And so like that's part of the reason that I haven't gone to like look for like a true sales job,
Hmm.
is because like I really just want to be the spider net that like waits till the things get caught, and then I get to like not necessarily like go kill them, but like go give show them what we have and like show them how it can help them. Because like I read about Paul Newman, who's like my life path, who is just a very fascinating person.
Nice.
And uh he's one of the things that I read about him um was he was just a very honest salesperson. And like that's something like there's been so many times that I've been that someone got me energized in a sales thing, and like I gave them thousands of dollars like for something, and if I would have waited, uh, I would have known that like, no, that's like out of my price range, or like just
Hmm.
because you got me energized and you told me you're gonna solve all my problems, like I know enough sales information that like I can do that to anybody, but I don't want to have that same thing happen to me that I would do to someone else. And so like
Yeah.
I would like if I get into a sales position, I would be like, okay, like I can tell that I got you to this point. Like, if you want to like take the time to like think about this and like feel this, like I'm not gonna put objections on you. like do what's right for you, and then let's have a conversation, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's like in a week, whether it's in the moon cycle, like, but if this is going to help you, and I believe it's going to, you better have this conversation, and you better not just lie to me and say, I'll call you in a week, and you just are doing that because you're going to lie to me and you don't want to say no. uh, yeah,
Love that, dude. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm the moon cycle.
yeah, I knew that about Reflector, which is just so interesting. And like who, uh like what like career system allows for you to be like, oh, I just need to like, just let me go through my moon cycle. They're like, oh, you're fucking crazy.
Dude, yeah, I worked in corporate for like 5 years and
Yeah,
I hated it.
yeah.
It drove me into sickness. It drove me into like
Depression.
depression.
Yeah,
Huge.
yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it was like I certainly smoked more because of that, because I was just like, I was not, I was very frustrated. There was no satisfaction in it for me, and like, yeah, yeah, same page.
Yeah, yeah. That's why like yeah, I'm still trying to tap into that, but I feel like I've also already like I know certain things about the moon. Like I
Yeah,
intuitively feel the moon like I feel like way more than a lot of people.
yeah.
I like know when things are waning, when things are
Mm,
like coming up and being more
mm, mm.
have more energy, and I know when it's like every two like literally half the time I'm like I don't really want to talk or move or like see or like
Yeah,
need to like retreat and just be like
yep,
chill and do nothing for like a minute. Can you all
yep.
like just like but dude, society does not allow for that to happen. You want to make
No,
money, you want to do things in this life, you can't live like that.
yeah.
So
Uh,
wild. But maybe things.
uh, and I'm gonna say like society doesn't allow for that, but like doesn't mean that you can't create this thing with your girlfriend and with other people who they understand who you are and how you're like, oh nope, I'm gonna, you know what, I'm gonna work really hard for 2 weeks, and then I'm gonna like slow it down, and then I'm gonna ramp it back up, and like me and your girlfriend would be like, what the fuck? What do you mean you can't work all the time? Like, yeah,
Yeah, it's
but you're not meant to, and
I have to like separate myself and find more time to relax and
yeah,
to just like slow down. It's like,
yeah,
but like at the same time, when I'm also like when I'm in it and when I'm waning, I'm like, I feel like I can do a million things.
yeah,
Like I'm energized and I'm like, I'm killing it, I'm crushing it, and I'm
yeah.
like doing everything I need to do. But it's cool. It's cool. Like the reflector thing is just wild. Did you see the percentages of like how many? Yeah,
1%, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
I think
Go ahead.
I want to say manifesting generators like 16, 17.
Yeah, something like that. I think, yeah, close to 20. I think, yeah. Um, I think generators are the most. I think they're like
Yeah,
20, 25,
yeah, well,
25,
we need
30 or
them
something.
working.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they're the ones that run the world.
Uh,
Um, I found, so I work at a CBD shop in Southie.
nice.
I was just like chilling one day, just like a part-time thing. I do breath work and personal training for the most part. But I work on there on weekends. And there's this guy that came in and he was like asking some questions about like some of the disposables and vapes and stuff. And I was like, just like chatting, shooting the shit, but there was like something about it. And I was like, dude, just like, and like he knew too. And we
Yeah,
just talked and we just started talking. And we
yeah.
just, dude, we ended up talking for like 4 hours. And then my shift was over and we went back to his place. He was his place in Southie. And we talked for like another two or three. And it was like, he's another reflector. I was like,
Yeah,
what the, like, what is happening? And we like, it was wild because he's like the same age as me. He was born like like literally a month before I was.
yeah,
Um, born in Boston, like all this crazy stuff. Like he's very into health in a different way, but like also sort of the same. Like we sort of even looks very similar.
yeah. That's so interesting.
It was
I've
like,
met I've
yeah,
met people who have the same exact birthday, born the same exact year as me. Uh, one's Delaney McGuire. Do you know who I'm talking about?
is he a
I'll
baseball?
send,
No.
he like it lives in Austin. He's done a bunch of cool shit. I'll send you his page.
Yeah.
But like when I found that out, I'm like super similar on the things like but there was a conversation I had on a plane to Austin. And I literally like talked for the woman to 4 hours, and like we were on Tarmac for an hour and I had no fucking idea. She
That's
was also
crazy.
very pretty.
She had the same birthday as you?
No. This was
Oh,
just a 37-year-old woman, uh,
yeah.
who I thought was very pretty. Like, and it was funny because she had literally been like an executive assistant, in like the beginning part of her life, which is like I'd done that for like 5 months, and like it
Just
was
like all these overlaps. Yeah.
dudes, and like she has like kids with ADHD, like
That's awesome. Dude, it's
yeah,
yeah, it's so cool. Like this whole thing and like learning about the system and learning about myself has just been a complete journey. And like
same.
like my girlfriend's been into numerology and astrology for like a long time. She deals a
Yeah.
lot with the houses, and she's been like there's something called like the genetic matrix, which takes all these systems and kind of puts them into one, and like you can view it through one lens and you can learn them. Like it takes a lot to like actually understand what you're looking at. Like I still have no clue, but
Yeah, same.
the
I'm
way
like,
this
I'm a
stuff
cancer.
the way this stuff will even like evolve is going to be sweet. It's going to be like um we're going to figure out like so within human design there's things about sleep, there's things about what you can eat.
Mm,
You're telling me about that, you figure that out. There's things about like certain longitudinal lines and latitude lines and like where you can access certain parts of yourself and like
wow.
where certain
Wow.
like houses will be more prominent and like dude like I'm looking to move to fucking Tampa like soon.
Nice, dude. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like
You're
I have no
dude. I've
experience
heard
like
such
doing yeah.
great things. Like, I've only been to Florida once, and it was fucking epic. Like, so you're as long as you could afford that shit, like,
Yeah,
send
I'm
it.
looking at like loans and stuff now. I'm looking at like
Yeah,
potentially looking at some jobs, like trying to move there within the like the next 4 or 5 months,
nice.
like to try and get a place or at least to just start the process
Yep,
for next
yep,
year. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, dude, I'm like it's crazy because like yeah, I mean I'm trying to take the breathwork thing bigger. I'm trying to like
Nice.
integrate it into communities. Like I'm already connecting with like a bunch of solar companies and like trying to do
Oh,
stuff on that back end like because dude like people are going to start companies are going to start looking for more things that make their employees successful and healthy.
yep. I
And
have one of the things that I've considered doing was I've only created jobs for myself other than like serving, uh, and was becoming a health consultant to make their employees healthier and happier, and in turn more productive and profitable. And like I've considered it.
yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's I think that's where like I think that's where it's going to be for me. I'm going to try and like even just start now, like looking up companies over
Oh,
there and just like be like, hey, I'm moving there soon. Like, let's set some stuff up.
I like that,
Yeah, I'm.
especially if you need a moon cycle, anyways.
Yeah, yeah. I'll wait a moon cycle and figure it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, I gotta run, but
Yeah,
I've loved this conversation and I've learned so much. So like, thank you for your guidance. Like,
absolutely.
yeah, I'll definitely join the Telegram. Talk soon, buddy.
Yeah, definitely. You care if I post this on like my YouTube?
Nope.
Sweet. Fuck yeah. All right, dude.
Yeah,
Great to see you.
to
Great to
call me.
like chat. This has been freaking awesome. I'm looking for
I've so much enjoyed this, and I feel like when we were in Christian's group, I feel like the few times that I actually like got on the video chats, I feel like I remembered enjoying your presence and inputs. Like,
yeah. That's like why like that's honestly one of the biggest things that made me create my own Telegram is
yeah,
like I started to be like, can I invite somebody to this group? I think it's cool. And then he was like, nah. I was like,
yeah,
all
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah,
See ya.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, later, Common.
All right. Later, dude. Have a great day.
Likewise.